Is Provost, the inaugural lecturer, it is my pleasure, privilege, and honor to call on Vice Chancellor of the University, Professor Oni'S, to declare this year's inaugural lecture and then the succession of the inaugural lecture, Professor OLATUNDE Michael Oni'S, acting as Chancellor. Distinguished members of LAUTECH, the members of the organizing committee, the principal, professors here present, deans of faculty, students, invited guests, you are all welcome. I hereby present the citation of Professor OLATUNDE Michael Oni'S. Professor OLATUNDE Michael Oni'S is a passionate radiation and health physicist with great layer of scientific contribution and model. Born in Ibadan to the family of Martin and Sapphire of Oke's compound, Ibadan. Professor OLATUNDE Oni'S started his sojourn at Grand Divinity Convent School for his primary education. He had a secondary education at OLATUNDE High School, now Oni'S School, in Woro, Ibadan. Before proceeding to Baptist High School for advanced level studies and later on the state university, now OLATUNDE University, where he began the Bachelor of Science with honors in this. OLATUNDE graduate studies at the Department of Physics University, where he got Master of Science and Doctor of Philosophy PhD in Physics. Who are teachers? It is not really that Professor OLATUNDE is a born teacher with genes for teaching. Records and testimonies of the students at Inaugural School of Nigeria, the Royal College of Nigeria, and the School of Nigeria are pointed to his particular and passionate teaching style. He teaches students in the Yoruba language. Research interests. Professor LAUTECH combines versatility in computational methods with effective handling and manipulation of instruments starting from the design and fabrication of an electronic electroscope and modeling of the focusing properties of an electrostatic lens. So this is that activities have been to harness the concept of radiation for minimizing the radiological risks for the public and during diagnosis and therapeutic procedures involving radiation use, most especially for the low and middle income countries (LAICs). With a view to increasing radiotherapy sources. Silence to the university. Apart from lecturing and research, Professor Lee has served in various capacities, which include acting head of the Department of Pure and Applied Physics, Director of Information and Communication Technology Center, Dean, Faculty of Pure and Applied Sciences, Chairman, University Ceremonial Committee, Chairman, University Security Committee, and Chairman, member of several committees. So, other universities in Nigeria are also employed something of this area. I'm passionate researcher. Technical skills. Diverse technical skills possessed by Professor OLATUNDE include computer programming in Fortran, C++, Python, and MATLAB. Monte Carlo simulation of radiotherapy, medical imaging, and nuclear medicine procedures. QA of radio diagnosis and therapeutic and radiotherapy devices. Calibration of nuclear radiation instruments, modeling of physiologically based pharmacokinetic transport of radioactive materials, radiation safety and protection, and finally, computer vision in image-guided dosimetry system. Professional / religious socio-cultural organizations. They include Professor Oni'S is a member of the following organization. Member, Nigerian Institute of Physics. Member, Nigerian Society of Radiation Protection. Institute of Physics and Engineering in Medicine, UK. Member, European Society in Radiotherapy and Oncology, ISTRO. Member, the Order of the Knights of St. Malumba, KSM, Nigeria, and member the Omar Jurusu Club, Ibadan. Family life. Professor LAUTECH Michael Oni is happily and graciously married to Dr. Funlayo Grace Aname Oni, and the marriage is blessed with children. I thank you very much. On this note, I would like to declare the 58th inaugural lecture of the LAUTECH University of Technology open.
The Pro-Chancellor and Chairman of Council, the Acting Vice-Chancellor, sir, members of Council, the University Registrar, the University Bursar, the University Librarian, Provost of the College of Medicine, Dean, Faculty of Pure and Applied Sciences, Dean, Postgraduate School, Deans of other faculties and students' affairs, members of the University Senate, my academic mentor, Royal Highnesses here present, my Lord Spiritual and Temporal, my Lord Catholic Bishop of Osogbo Diocese, members of the university community, distinguished guests, friends and families, gentlemen and ladies of the press, ladies and gentlemen. With all gratitude to the Almighty God, on behalf of the Faculty of Pure and Applied Sciences, I am pleased to stand before you to deliver the golden inaugural lecture of LAUTECH University of Technology, Ogbomoso, Nigeria. Looking back to the perturbations of the past and His amazing grace, I dedicate this lecture to the provider of life and to the memory of my parents, Martin and Sabina Oni, my beloved Otuko Odokuma Oni, and Monsignor Julius Oni. As a child, it once crossed my mind and I asked myself, who created the world? As I grew older and I became a scientist, I gathered that the creation of the world is a puzzle which scientists, while trying to solve, have to come up with fascinating ideas and observations, such as the Big Bang, the concept of cosmic inflation, the fact that most of the world is made up of dark energy, which we cannot perceive. The fact that every direction we observe the same very faint background radiation and more. Brewster and Cooper-Mon, 2012, however, stated that scientists cannot claim to know the definitive truth about the creation of the world. Later on, as a computational scientist, I understand the world as an entity containing interacting elements. Mr. Vice Chancellor, sir, my Lord Spiritual and Temporal, without dwelling any further into the matter of creation of the world, permit me to ask if there could be a world without a life. Certainly no. World undoubtedly consists of living and non-living elements in different forms of interaction for many reasons and at different scales. Some of the interactions and their product are seen, macroscopic, while some, unaided, are unseen on the microscopic scale, nanoscale, and even lesser scales. In fact, Interaction of the unseen scales determine the existence and continuity of life. For clarity, all elements of the world are made up of cells with subcellular constituents. All these substates are at scales lower than microscales. Cell is the smallest unit of life, and all organisms can be grouped into prokaryotes and eukaryotes. A typical prokaryotic cell might contain the following parts: cell wall, cell membrane surrounding and protecting the cell, cytoplasm, flagella, nucleus, which is a nucleus region of the cells where genetic material is kept, and as well plasmid. In eukaryotes, these are animals, plants, fungi, and protists. They possess a membrane-bound nucleus as well as membrane-bound organelles. So some of these organelles, we have plasm running from cytoplasm, endoplasmic reticulum, Golgi apparatus, lysosome, and peroxysomes. Also, we have the powerhouse of the cell, which is the mitochondria. We have the nucleus. This is the main part of the cell that contains so many other things that determines the characteristics of every organism that is inherited from both parents. The nucleus controls some functions of the cells. For example, to grow, mature, divide, or die. Hence, it is sometimes called the command center of the cell. The nucleus houses the DNA, that is the deoxyribonucleic acid. It enter or leave the cell. We have the ribosomes, and in the nucleus are the chromosomes and the DNA. In the nucleus of each cell are thread-like structures known as the chromosomes. Each chromosome contains molecules that are tightly coiled many times around proteins called histones that supports its structure. Chromosomes are not visible in the cell nucleus, not even under a microscope. When the cell is not, it is not visible when the cell is not divided. However, the DNA that makes up chromosomes becomes more tightly packed during cell division, and it is then visible under a microscope. Most of the researchers know about chromosomes only when they observe chromosomes during cell division. In human, 23 pairs of chromosomes in each cell. 22 of these, which are called the autosomes, look the same in both males and females. However, the 23rd pair, which is the sex chromosome, differ between males and female. Each chromosome has a condition point, and the DNA carries the hereditary material contained in the nucleus. In humans and almost all other organisms, a small amount of DNA can also, however, be found in the mitochondria. Nearly every cell contains some information stores in the DNA. The code stores comprise 4 chemical bases: the adenine, the guanine, the cytosine, and the thymine. These are about 3 billions in human DNA. The order or sequence of these bases determines the information available for building and maintaining an organisms. An important property of the DNA is that it replicates or makes copies of itself. Each strand of DNA in the double helix can serve as a pattern of duplicating the sequence of bases. This is critical when cells divide because each new cell needs to have an exact copy of the DNA. Gene. A gene is the basic physical and functional unit of heredity. Genes are made up of DNA, and each chromosome contains many genes. Some genes act as instruction to make molecules called proteins. However, many genes do not code for proteins. In humans, genes vary in size from 100 DNA bases to more than 2 million bases by inheritance from each parent. Every person has 2 copies of each gene. One inherited from each parent due to the variation. Offspring from the same parents have some slight differences, and this makes each person to have some unique features. Because the scientific name given to these genes are usually long, oftentimes these genes are abbreviated. For example, a gene on chromosome 7 that has been associated with cystic fibrosis is called the cystic fibrosis transmembrane conductance regulator, CTFR. For breast and ovarian cancers, variation in BRCA1 and BRCA2 genes increase the risk of either or both of the breast and ovarian cancers. Mr. Vice Chancellor, sir, since the formation of the heart, there have been radionuclides that have been in existence, and such radionuclides fall into three decay series. We have the potassium-40, the uranium-238, and thorium-232 decay series. From this decay series, human beings and other organisms are exposed to radiation. Naturally, we are exposed to radiation, and also from artificial activities, there are exposures to radiation. From these sources of radiation, radon takes over 50% of our exposure to radiation. Documented evidence abound that knowledge of radiation exposure on Earth can be traced to the first occupational X-ray of over 50 Paris women, self-trained by Madame Curie on how to operate the Little Curie. Little Curie is a mobile X-ray vehicle that Madame Curie used as a contribution in the World War I in 1914. Drawn from our activities during the war and the health effect of overexposure from Little Curie, Madame Curie, however, suffered some health challenges that later on led to her death and the death of several of the 50 women she trained. Madame Curie, in her life, wrote a book on X-ray safety, and she presented some common radiation effects and doses. We can see the picture of Madame Curie on plate, the Little Curie on plate 1. The radiation dose incurred varies, and it depends on the size of the dose, the ability of the radiation to cause harm in human tissues, and which organs are actually irradiated. The most important factor is the amount of dose per unit mass of the exposed cells in the tissue or organ. The more energy absorbed by cells, the greater the biological damage. The absorbed dose, the amount of energy absorbed per gram of the body, is usually measured in the unit called Gray or rad. These units are related, and there are weighting factors to convert from one unit of radiation doses to another. Depending on the radiation absorbed, there are several effects that have been reported and that have been recorded. On plate 2, there is presentation of some typical skin injury due to radiation exposure. We have radiation dermatitis, and we have cutaneous radiation injuries. Permit me to expatiate that on plate 2C, a personnel inadvertently placed an Irradium-192 in his hip pocket, and after 3 days, he suffered some radiation lesion on his skin. And after 10 days, the radiation lesion spread and covered a large part of the skin. That is shown on plate 2D. Radiation and earth physics deals with the physics of radiation production, deflection, interaction with air and other materials. An investigation of the effect of such interaction, most especially in biological materials. The principle of radiation physics, such as the focusing of accelerated electrons on the target, are harnessed in the manufacturing of diagnostic and therapeutic devices. This has led to the transformation of medical equipment from diagnostic X-ray to medical linear accelerator, LINACs, that are being used now to treat cancer. All these medical devices are possible due to the electron focusing in arrangement called electrostatic or magnetostatic lenses. Study of the interaction of radiation with biological materials has revealed the robust capacity of radiation as a double-edged sword, capable of inducing some health conditions, as well as being a tool in the diagnosis and treatment of some diseases. Measurement of radiological doses from telecommunication and medical equipment carried out by Ogundare, Oni, and Balogun 22, Oni, Amuda, and Gilbert 2011, Oni, Amuda, Gilbert, Asheweje, and Akinola 2011, Amuda, Oladoja, Oni, Israel, Ajayi, and Ali Agan 2021 indicated that compliance with the limits of power and antenna gains are necessary to prevent undue radiation exposure of the public. Normally, human cells grow and multiply through a controlled process of cell division to form a new cells. Sometimes there is a deviation from this orderly process, and abnormal or damaged cells grow and multiply when they should not, forming lumps of tissue called tumors. Tumors can be localized to the site of formation. That is, they could be benign or malignant, which spread invade nearby tissues or travel to the distant places in the body to form new tumors, corrupting the cells, tissues, and organs, leading to the eventual snatching of the body. Cancer can be initiated and experienced almost anywhere in human cells. We could see some types of cancer suffered by some patients, from the skin to the face and to the chin. This disease eventually, when unattended to and attended to early enough, could eventually take over and snatch the body. Mr. Vice Chancellor, sir, various scientific studies have identified cancer as a disease caused by changes to gene that controls the way our cells function, especially how they grow and divide. Apart from the hereditary genetic changes that cause cancer, can happen because of the damage to the DNA. Some harmful substances in the environment, such as the chemical in tobacco smoke, ultraviolet rays from the sun radiation, radiation from medical examination, and radiation from other sources, such as radon exposure, are culpable factors. According to Akinloye, Oni, and Najiboye, 2004, Pasa, 2012, Ishola, Oni, Akinloye, and others, 2015. There are some carcinogens and their sources listed on table 2. Ladies and gentlemen, radon is a colorless, odorless, radioactive gas. It is a product from natural decay of uranium-238 and thorium-232. Radon is a group A carcinogen, according to WHO 2019 and USEPA 1992. It is the leading cause of lung cancer in non-smokers, and the second cause of smokers, and the second cause in smokers after tobacco smoking. The mechanism of cancer induction by radon is shown in figure 18. We all inhale radon, most especially radon-222. It is a radioactive gas. When it gets into our nostrils, the radioactivity continues and the byproducts, which are oftentimes solid, are attached to the tracheal walls and to the lining of our lungs, whereby there is likely to be release of radiation energy bombarding the DNAs of the cells and causing single bond break or double strand break, which may eventually lead to cancer if the body is unable to fully repair such damage. Mr. Vice Chancellor, sir. Despite over a century of first radiation treatment carried out at Chicago, USA in 1896, controlling this disease is still a global challenge. Going by the statistics of the year 2021, at the year 2017, which is the year that data is available before the whole world was visited with COVID-19 pandemic, there were 366,303 cancer cases diagnosed in the United Kingdom. A whooping 48.9% of the cases were in men. That is according to Cancer Statistics 2020. The figures by cancer types are presented in Table 3. On a projection, ladies and gentlemen, it is estimated that by the year 2035, 1 in 2 people in the United Kingdom will be diagnosed with cancer in their lifetime. This is according to Smithania et al. 2016. Global statistical facts and figures, however, reveal that 17 million new cases of cancer were recorded worldwide in 2018. It was reported that lung, female breast, bowel, and prostate cancers are the most prevalent, 4 in 10 worldwide. Each year by 2040, there will be 27.5 million new cases of cancer. And also that in the United Kingdom, incidence is ranked higher than 2/3 of cancer cases in Europe. The UK incidence is ranked higher than 90% of the world. Table 3 shows the distribution figures of cancer by type. We have the leading cancer type on record, according to Cancer Statistics 2020, is breast cancer, followed by prostate cancer, and then lung cancer. According to the World Health Organization 2021, countries with strong health systems are recording encouraging success in taming the variant cases of these body snatchers. Increasing survival rates are attributable to the widespread level of awareness of environmental causative agents, accessibility to early detection, quality diagnostic and treatment devices and procedures. Sadly, in low and medium income countries, particularly Nigeria and other sub-Saharan Africa, the cancer burden still bites hard. Agonizing pains are felt by the physical, emotional, and financial states of individuals, families, communities, and the health system, according to WHO records of 2021. For example, a 5-year age standardized relative survival analysis carried out by Sankrayanan 2010 on 341,658 patients diagnosed with various cancer from 1990 to 2001 and followed up to 2003. That was carried out from 25 population-based cancer registry in 12 countries in sub-Saharan Africa, in the Asian, in Central America. This shows that for cancers in which prognosis depend on stage at diagnosis, survival was highest in China, South Korea, Singapore, and Turkey. However, the lowest was found in the sub-Saharan Africa. The survival ranged from 76 to 82% for breast cancer, 63 to 79% for cervical cancer, 71 to 78% for bladder cancer, and 44 to 60% for large bowel cancer in China, Singapore, and South Korea and Turkey. On the average, ladies and gentlemen, Survival is less than 20% for any cancer site in the sub-Saharan Africa. Mr. Vice Chancellor, sir. In Nigeria, cancer is responsible for 72,000 deaths every year, with an estimated value of 102,000 new cancer cases annually. The 5 cancers of greatest burden in Nigeria are presented in Table 4. And the chart of the cancer incidence globally and in Nigeria are presented respectively in Figure 19 and Figure 20. Ladies and gentlemen, concerning the high concentration of radon to the radiation exposure from natural sources, in Nigeria, there is very little and near zero level of awareness of the presence of this carcinogenic gas in our homes, offices, and residential water for drinking and for other household uses. Before the study on the determination of radon concentration in drinking water in southwestern Nigeria, carried out by Oni'S et al. 2014, a survey on radiation awareness was carried out on a sample of the university students' population in southwestern Nigeria. It was observed that however, 53.77% were not sure or did not know the physical state that radon belongs. Only 12.56% were aware that radon originated from bedrock, and only 19% believed radon in water could pose an inhalation risk. In addition, 43.72% believe that radon is harmful, while 70.84% were not sure if the radon radiological risk is inclusive of Nigeria, as if Nigeria is not part of the world. In a separate but related study carried out by Folabi et al. 2014 on assessment of the awareness of radon and its health risk among employees of Obafemi Awolowo University, Ile-Ife, Nigeria, only 42% of the respondents were reported to be aware of radon, among which 43.8% knew about radon health risk. The authors reported the existence of a poor level of awareness of radon and its health risk among employees of OAU, judging from the findings among university students and employees in the southwestern Nigeria, the region that is considered as the most educated and most exposed of all the geopolitical zones in Nigeria. It would therefore not be out of place, ladies and gentlemen, to request a radical approach to increase the level of radon awareness in Nigerian environment as a step to punctuate the query of a correlation between increasing cancer incidence and radon exposure in Nigeria. Mr. Vice Chancellor, sir. According to Sir Isaac Newton, who said, and I quote, "If I've been able to see further than others, it was because I stood on the shoulders of giants." I have the pleasure to mention here that I was trained by the pioneer radon scientist in Nigeria, in person of Professor Idowu Peter Farai of the University of Ibadan. Records have it that the first radon measurement by this giant scientist was successfully carried out using sodium iodide gamma spectrometer, which he modified to measure radon 222 continuously in a groundwater system in Nigeria to determine a year-long variability of radon 222 in groundwater. Farai and Sonny, 1992. In the study, the mean concentration of radon 222 measured for a particular month was 15.1 becquerel per liter, with an average of 14.8 becquerel per liter annually. The authors noted that of all the physical factors, rainfall is the only major factor causing variations. Ladies and gentlemen, it is not gainsaying that for over 2 decades, since the first radon measurement, even till now, groundwater has dominated the source of drinking water in Nigeria. Despite the reported radiological, that is carcinogenic risk associated with the exposure to radon and its progenies, no significant action is being taken to reduce the possibility of cancer induction via radon exposure from groundwater. Using a more sensitive and active radon detector, Oni'S et al. In 2014 carried out a sampling of a total of 112 groundwater in area of elevated background radiation in some cities and towns in southwestern Nigeria. These cities had earlier been noted and reported by Farai and Jibiri 2000. The samples were collected and assayed for the determination of radon-222 concentration. The result revealed that the concentration of radon-222 in the water sample ranged from 0.95 becquerel per liter to 112 becquerel per liter. This revealed a steady trend of variation with the work earlier reported in 1992 by Farai and Sonny. Highest concentration was found in water from the borehole, and the concentration ranged from 10.69 to 109 becquerel per liter. This concentration of radon in water samples were found to be above the 0.1 becquerel per liter maximum contaminant level presented by standard organizations of Nigeria. But according to United States Environmental Protection Agency, for borehole sources, the maximum contaminant level should not be higher than 11.1 becquerel per liter. There is a lack of knowledge of vital issues about cancer and early detection measures. According to LAUTECH and OLATUNDE in 2006, in a study to assess etiology, early warning signs, treatment modes, and early detection measures of breast cancer, which is the commonest among women in Nigeria and worldwide. On the average, 24.8% out of 420 women know of early detection of breast cancer. Their leading source of information about breast cancer was from the experience of their elders, neighbors, and friends, with 15.4% of the respondents acknowledging this source. Only 4.4% of the respondents acknowledged health workers as their source of information. Ladies and gentlemen, apart from physical examination, histopathologic biopsy, image-guided detection, nucleic acid-based markers are proven to be valuable tools for early detection of all cancers in asymptomatic individuals for preventive approaches. Examples of such biomarkers, their potential applications, and the current practical limitations on their clinical use are reported by Sidransky, 1997. Lately, a Nigerian showcased in a BBC News video post a promising smart bra for early detection of breast cancer. Embedded technology on a nanoscale employed in this smart bra, if integrated with Monte Carlo-driven analytics algorithms and patient-centric mobile picture archiving and communication system, would make the smart bra an indispensable tool for early detection of breast tumor in low and medium income countries. Conspicuously presented in the Nigeria National Cancer Control Plan of the National Council of Health, which is a subsection of the Federal Ministry of Health, had the objectives to increase by at least 50% the functionality of comprehensive cancer centers by the year 2022. It is also written that they are to increase the human capacity development for healthcare personnel in cancer diagnosis and treatment by 60% in the year 2022. These are some of the highlighted as practical methods required to reduce the incidence and prevalence of cancer in Nigeria. A strategy to achieving the objective is the multidisciplinary tumor control approaches and procedures. This is as contained in the NCCP document, and it is a scientific global practice in ensuring better diagnosis of treatment. From the data across the globe, cancer treatment and survival are being achieved via 3 major therapy procedures, as shown in figure 21. Owing to the versatility and high accuracy of Monte Carlo computational procedures in all the stages of cancer radiotherapy treatment, it is imperative for radiation physicists, medical physicists, and computational scientists to collaborate with Nigerian oncologists in offering a better diagnosis, treatment, and support for cancer cases in Nigeria to achieve the goal of delivering a lethal dose to the tumor while minimizing the dose to the immediate normal tissues or organs at risk. Generally, about 100 gray of ionizing radiation dose is lethal to the cancer cells, while 60 and 40 grays, for example, are high enough to respectively cause rectal and spinal cord damage. Going by the success rate in continents with cancer research activities involving Monte Carlo packages, like in Europe, USA, and Asia, it is not far-fetched to query an existence of a very high concentration, of a very high correlation between cancer survivor and Monte Carlo-based diagnosis and treatment tools. These Monte Carlo packages have algorithms that consider the density of the tissue, the organ motion, and as well take image while the radiation delivery is ongoing. Thus, there exists intensity modulation radiotherapy, IMRT, and image-guided radiotherapy with motion management, among other techniques or radiation delivery for tumor control. With these tools, there is a unique radiation treatment field that depends on the tumor shape rather than the conventional rectangular or square field that were employed for treatment in those days. Contributing to the taming of the body snatchers is the adoption of Monte Carlo algorithm in an ongoing studies, Mr. Vice Chancellor, sir. Muka and Oni 2022 carried out an investigation in order to develop a low-cost 3D dosimetry system for spatially fractionated radiotherapy in low and middle-income countries. A research that is ongoing in the Department of Pure and Applied Physics, LAUTECH, where a graphical enable Monte Carlo tools for particle simulation, TOPAS, is applied to design grid blocks of different structure and materials for the simulation of linear grid-based spatially fractionated radiotherapy techniques for treating bulky tumors, cancer near delicate organs at risk, and for cancers in pediatrics. Within the limited local resources of this research, while appreciating the remote access of the computer clusters of the University of Victoria, Canada, and support from Precision Physics, USA, encouraging preliminary results obtained revealed that 60 megavolt X-ray photons spatially fractionated by the grid blocks leads to the generation of secondary particles, contributing more of the dose to the target volume than the primary radiation, which contribution to the cancer recurring is being queried. Also, the radiotherapeutic parameters of Newton metal and some synthesized inorganic compounds using Monte Carlo simulation, which is a study carried out by Makinde and Oni 2021, revealed more prospects for their respective use in Linux in place of seroband and for personal radiation shielding. Furthermore, since radiation used in cancer treatment targets damage to the DNA, some Monte Carlo packages are being used in this regard. For example, Topaz N-Bio, an extension of Topaz Monte Carlo package, is being used for the simulation to investigate the mechanistic damage and repairs of the DNA response to radiation from radon from groundwater. Ajogbeje and Uni, 2021. Topaz and Bio present a visual tracking of the single DNA break and double DNA break capable of leading to mutation from which the radiotoxicity of radiation can be determined. Starting from the definition of the word and the setting of the geometries and materials of the interacting elements in the word, selected codes of Topaz simulation and that of Topaz and Bio, here referred to as code of life, following the use of the word in the 26th inaugural lecture by Emoyibo Fare 2019. This is applied for simulating the DNA damage and repair analysis. In a similar approach for word and geometry setting, there are other Monte Carlo packages of brilliant application in cancer research that could facilitate low-cost development and deployment in the LMICs, and these are Primo, MCMP, Fluka, and EGS NRC. Figure 24 shows the simulation according to Ajogbeji and Noni, in order to calculate the mechanistic damage to DNA and repairs. On figure 25, medical devices were also simulated, CT scan, PET, and SPECT, which are modern medical imaging devices. They were also simulated by another Monte Carlo package called GATE, which is Giant 4 application for tomographic emission. It follows a simple code, and I presented on figure 26 just some few lines of GATE Monte Carlo code for simulation of hadron therapy, which is using particles for the treatment of cancer. Mr. Vice Chancellor, sir, I have no doubt in me that Nigerian scientists and oncologists have the required knowledge to provide effective treatment of tumors with better survival outcomes. Presently, for low and medium income countries, the cost of diagnostic pre-treatment and treatment machine is no child's play. However, I'm convinced beyond reasonable doubt that for these LMICs, from imaging to pre-treatment planning and treatment to post-treatment radiotoxicity follow-up investigation, this graphical enabled Monte Carlo simulation package are the much needed tools to see the unseen towards the science of taming this dreaded body snatcher. Mr. Vice Chancellor, sir, ladies and gentlemen, I look back to the thick and thin that have passed. I cannot bear return all glory to the Kings of Kings for his grace, mercy, and favor. With thanks, I appreciate the entire council of LAUTECH Akintola University of Technology, Ogbomoso, Nigeria. I thank all members of the management committee, LAUTECH. I must admit that it is a great privilege that I delivered this 58th inaugural lecture. On this note, I thank the acting Vice Chancellor, Professor M.O. Liasu, the registrar, Dr. Kayode Ogunleye, the bursar, Mr. Abayomi Okediji, and the university librarian, Dr. Mrs. Aboyade. The effort and sacrifices of all the founding stakeholders and past vice chancellors of this citadel of learning were the solid foundations to my being appointed a lecturer and a researcher. To you all, I say thank you. I'm particularly grateful to late Professor A.M. Salau, the vice chancellor of this institution, who in 1998 approved my appointment as a lecturer. It is my prayer that his soul continues to receive the mercy of the Lord. I thank Professor B.B. Adeleke, former Vice Chancellor, LAUTECH, for the rare opportunity and support I received from him while serving as the Director of ICT Center, LAUTECH. I always remember my first encounter with Professor Oluremi Alabi at the PhD Hotel, Ugbori Koko Delta State. Professor Alabi spotted me and started the process of my appointment. I am forever grateful, sir. My heartfelt appreciation goes to the University Inaugural Lecture Committee. The greatly valued understanding shown by this committee was instrumental to my presenting this lecture today. I thank you so much. My appreciation goes to all members of staff of Faculty of Pure and Applied Sciences, LAUTECH, I thank the Dean, Professor A.T.D. Ogunkunle, for his patience, understanding, and cooperation. I thank all the past deans of FPAS, all professors in the faculty, and indeed across all faculties and colleges in LAUTECH. I appreciate the love I enjoy from my colleagues in the department, starting from the acting head of department, Dr. George Atilade Alagbe, my brother, Professor Lukman Sumonu, Professor G.R. Fadimi, Professor Michael Alade, Professor Awoduba, Professor Shanusi. I thank Drs. Ishola, Awodele, Adewumi, Adedokun Amuda, and Dr. Emmanuel Oni. I thank Dr. Adewale, Dr. Abraham Aremu, Dr. O.A. Akinyola, Mrs. Adewumi, Mr. Paul Ayanlola, Mr. Oyeshola. I thank Mr. G.A. Alamu and Mr. Peter Muka. I thank all the non-teaching members of staff and students as a whole. I cannot forget the pieces of advice and support I received from Professor Mrs. M.K. Akinlole and Professor David Ajadi. I'm grateful to Professor Idowu Peter Farai, my academic father. Professor Farai taught me to listen, read, write, and read again. I appreciate this greatly valued tutelage I received from you. I thank all my teachers from Christ the King Primary School, Agugu, Ibadan, Ami Barracks Grammar School, Iwo Road, and Baptist High School, Iwo, Osun State. Very remarkable are the passionate teachings I received from Professor Kola Odunaike and Professor Victor Chukuma, as well as Professor Bidemi Laoye, and my other lecturers, both at Olabisi Onabanjo University and the University of Ibadan. Your efforts contributed immensely to my person. My colleagues and friends at each of these schools and other locations contributed to my knowledge acquisition. Particularly, I thank Professor Nnamdi Jibiri, Professor Ogundare, Professor Janet Ademola, Professor Zebase Kana, Dr. Rachel Obed, Dr. Olushola Fasunwa, now of the University of Lethbridge, Canada, and as well as Dr. Bimbo Oludupe. I appreciate my friends, Mr. Busayo Rimogunje, and several others, ranging from Mr. Dada Adakeja, Dr. Kunle Adedoyin, Dr. Kola Oyeniyi, Mr. Fidelis Araba, and as well as Mr. Goke Omojola. I greatly valued Mr. James Ashinyambi and Bukola Ogundiran of Lagos State University, Ojo, for being good friends in deed and in need. I thank immensely all the good people of Ogbomoso who, despite my shortcomings, are always willing to accommodate me. Permit me to acknowledge the loving bond I share with Baba Lord Ajani, popularly called Baba Loli, Baba Colonel Adegoyega Adeniran, and Yeye Mosun Adeniran, all the other Kumbis. I thank Mrs. Oyelade of blessed memory, Chief Akani of the famous Akani Bookshop, Ogbomoso, Mr. and Mrs. Kola Olaoye and their children, and all landlords and residents of Alafia Christi community, Iriakari, Ogbomoso. I am indeed indebted to my past and current students, particularly the students that are still in my research team. They have translated to becoming a colleague. And these are Dr. Kunle Oladapo, Dr. Biodun Amuda, Dr. Emmanuel Oni, Dr. Abraham Adewale, Dr. Peter Oyero, Mr. Adiola Oni, Mrs. Tola Olive Adelodun, as well as Mr. Paul Muka and Dr. Adedokun. The efforts and support of my research collaborators are very appreciated. Of note is the support from Dr. Magdalena Basalova Carter of the University of Victoria, British Columbia, Canada, and Dr. Peter Sandwell of the Precision Physics, USA, for the utmost confidence in collaborating with my research team. I thank my spiritual fathers, Baba Felix Alabajo, Archbishop Emeritus of Ibadan Archdiocese, Baba Julius Adelakun, Bishop Emeritus of Oyo Diocese, His Grace, Archbishop Leke Abegunrin, Bishop Adetoye Shebadejo, the Kali Bishop of Oyo Diocese, Bishop Akin Oyejola, the Catholic Bishop of Osun Diocese, is here present. I thank you so much, my Lord. Monsignor Emmanuel Yakubu, all priests, reverend sisters, and members of the Catholic Church, all knights of the Catholic Church, especially the honored order of the Knights of St. Mulumba, Nigeria. I appreciate the prayers, love, and support of all the parishioners and parish priests of St. Cyprian Catholic Church, Okeofa, Ibadan, and as well as St. Joseph Catholic Parish, Randa, Ogbomoso. I'm greatly indebted to Mr. Banjo Mojola. Sir, I thank you for making my feet steady against all odds and pressure at the beginning of my academic sojourn. I appreciate the care and mentoring you gave me. I pray that the joy of the Lord never departs from your home. I think of the Okpadijos with passion. I still feel the bond of brotherly love shared by Baba Timothy Okpadijo and my dad. From childhood, I have been following the footsteps of Professor Oladimeji George Okpadijo, and as well as Engineer Michael Okpadijo. I thank you all, your spouses and your children, for accommodating me in all ramifications. I will forever be grateful to the torchbearer of the Oni dynasty, Monsignor Julius Oni, who saw the light and was ordained a Catholic priest in November 1929 and brought the light to the family. Monsignor's brother, Alfonso Oni, did not hoard the knowledge. He picked up and trained his nephew, Martin, who made judicious use of the knowledge with the fear of God. Martin became the first university graduate in the family. Through thick and thin, denied himself of the luxuries, and together with his wife, Sabina, bequeathed the best legacy to me and my siblings. My beloved Martin and Sabina, how I wish you are alive today, at least to physically see the tip of the iceberg of your labors and investments. I, however, always thank God that I have you as my parents. May the Lord's perpetual light continue to guide and guard your soul. My maternal grandmother, Elena Adekoya, you never let the pains of losing your child at her prime sway you off. You nurtured me, protected me, provided for me, and encouraged me to study. I'm sure you are basking in satisfaction and joy of accomplishment. May the Lord continue to sustain you every second of your remaining time here on earth and beyond. You are a blessing to me and my siblings. I appreciate immensely the loving support and encouragement I receive from my siblings, Wale, Lanre, and Kemi, their spouses and children. I thank all my family members and friends. I thank all the Oni'S, the Babatundes of Arimon Ibadan, the Ogunaikes, the Ogunlanons, the Akinkumins, the Akinwumins, the Assis, the Adenugas, as well as the Windakos and the Adebanjos. I'm not forgetting Boye, Lucy, and Iteoluwa Agoye, Babawale Farombi and family, the Salaus of Agugu Ibadan, the Oladotuns, the Adiguns, the Arabas, the Okes, and the Shabiyis, not forgetting the Desmenus and others from Okeofa Ibadan. I appreciate you and your contribution, and appreciate your contribution to my growth and development. With a deep sense of appreciation, I acknowledge the love, care, and trust of the entire family members of the Odokuma of Ovu, Delta State, and the Okodete family at Ibadan, Okitipupa, and Egbini. I'm grateful to you all. I especially thank God for giving me Olufumilola, Oyinlola, Baba Dayo Similola, Toluwalola, and Irekumilola as sources of joy. I appreciate their support and understanding, most especially when I am near but far off, engrossed in academic and related work. I cannot forget the sacrifice of love and guidance that I received from Ochuko Odokuma Oni. I see her in whatever I do, and it reminds me of what she lived for. May your soul continue to enjoy the peace of the Almighty. Mr. Vice Chancellor, sir, Picking up a shattered object is easier than a shattered person. Under your grace, Oni, who met me at the point of disarray and courageously nurtured me back to focus. I thank you very much for this unquantifiable sacrifice and unimaginable understanding. The good Lord will bless you with his grace of satisfying longevity with sound earth. I remember and appreciate the love shown me by some people who would have been physically Matilda Adebola Oni, Francis Oluremi Oni, Dele Yadenuga, Mr. Sekaraya Ogusanya, Mama Emilia Olufola Kemi Martins, Baba Jako, Professor Abbas Olajire, Bishop Paul Olawore, and His Excellency Otumba Adebayo Alao Akala. You all left indelible imprints on my heart. I will continue to thank and love you. I thank all that I have inadvertently did not mention and my well-wishers. May the joy of the Lord be your strength. Thank you very much.
Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, we thank you. Please remain standing as we sing just the national anthem.
The national anthem.
Nigeria's home to serve our fatherland with love and strength and faith. The name of our heroes shall never be in vain. To serve with heart and mind, one nation in freedom, peace and unity.
We would like to plead with you to please remain standing while the Vice Chancellor and members of the high table take their leave.